All right, all right. Hi, and welcome to God's Village. You're invited, you're joining, you're just being amazing in yourself, and you're here listening, talking, like I keep saying invited, but indulging, engaging, all these good words to God's Village. Woo woo! You made it, you made it. In God's Village, we come as we are, change as we go, where we're learning and aiming to be more like Jesus. So, in that, we're going to talk about responsibilities and position. I know this is looking a lot. This is looking a lot, but we're gonna get this down. We're gonna get this down. Please be patient. And from sometimes it's hard. It's hard to like the responsibility. Why am I speaking so weird? Sometimes it's hard to like the responsibilities and the position that you're in, especially if it's not the highlight, if it's not glamorous, So you can't expect to prosper if you don't feed yourself. Not every food is nutritious, you know what I mean? So sometimes when God puts us in a position, we have to be able to not ourselves just take whatever God gives us in those times and the resources that He provides, but have the will to do better and to work better. You understand? So better. You understand? So I'm gonna use Saul in 1 Samuel 28, verse 9. Put the woman But the woman said to him, surely you know what Saul has done. He has cut off the mediums and spirituals for the land. Why have you set a trap for my life to bring about my death? So here I have a bit of a hypocritical type of thing because Saul put down this law after Samuel's death not to, like, mediums and all those types are not supposed to be here, not in this realm, not in this area, and he kicked them out. So how this story goes about is he dressed up, tried to hide himself to go find a medium because he was asking for guidance. And it's so wild how sometimes when we want guidance, we don't go straight to God, the source. You know what I'm saying? But separate discussion. It's the fact that he became hypocritical and his his literally his words have no foundation. He was so disoriented. His rules and his decrees backfired, or his words and his foundation was never stable. And it's like when he said don't do this, he will do it after. If he goes, oh, we all can't do this, like, sorry, this is like off topic, but in the beginning they were fighting the Philistines and Saul was on some no one should eat. Mind you, they've already been fighting for days and he's on some no one should eat. And of course, like, they're sluggish. They're fighting off, yeah, but they were sluggish, and it was like, imagine if they could eat, they would have been more amped to fight, as his son Jonathan said. Anyway, next we're talking about Samuel in the book of 1 Samuel 7:15. This is a positive. Samuel continued as Israel's judge for the rest of his life. Samuel continued as Israel's judge for the rest of his life. Each year he traveled around setting up his court, first at Bethel, then at Galilee, and then at Mizpah. He judged the people of Israel each of these places. Then he would return to his home at Ramah, and he would hear cases there too. And Sam built an altar to the Lord at Ramah. So that's crazy, right? Like 70 years to do God's work. I mean, we're supposed to do God's work all our lives, yeah. But it's the fact that, like, it don't seem like he took a break. It wasn't also, oh, I need a vacation of Christianity. I need a vacation. That's so funny that I even put that line together. It's crazy how God's time is so cool. The reason why I say that is because I remember literally the Sunday my pastor was talking about how sometimes when we are on vacation, we feel like we got to put our Christianity on vacation. And I just said that line now for this, and it's like I would have never thought. Anyway, so yeah, sometimes we feel as if we put our Christianity in vacation. And I'm not gonna lie, I am definitely guilty of this. Not to say like I go buck wild, but it's the fact that I'm like, no, I'm not gonna read as much as I usually do this morning or this afternoon. I'm not gonna like feed myself as much. But back to the point, Samuel really was about it. Like, he stayed diligent and obedient throughout his lifetime, and I didn't see an excuse when he didn't do something. Like, he always did it, even when it was something wild or something going on. He still went through with Saul. I feel like that was a stressful job to work with, because to build a bond and to build a connection and a friendship, and it hurts too when your friend is not doing the right thing. And it's like you talk to them, you tell them, you pray for them, and it's not working out. And at a certain point, Saul did something so wild that Samuel had to disconnect, and that was it. And I have Abigail here. I'm going to read off the slide. I know, so boring, so whack. I don't like doing that, but it's okay. First Sam 25:10-35, and it's pretty much about where I'm gonna get this so bad. I should have reread it before I started here. Sorry, guys, but it was like how, what was his name? Her husband Nabal, and it was the fact that like he wasn't showing great character in front of David after David done like protected his sheep, I believe, and how like in doing all this, David asked like a quick favor, and Nabal was on some, why should I help you, you delinquent? Like, what do I owe you? What I owe a pleasure to? On some cocky way. And I believe they were saying how his name means fool. And so David was on some, if I don't kill this man and his whole household, strike me dead type of thing, right? And the servant, I guess, again, read the Bible because I'm not the source. It was how like somebody sent the message to that family, Nabal's family, and Abigail heard because Nabal was already drunk, not doing it. I don't know. He wasn't in. He wasn't. I'm not saying nothing. So Abigail was like, "Where?" She gathered all the good gifts, all the like anything she had, food too as well. She gathered all these things and she went to meet David before he went to the house. And David and his men are like ready to slay some things. And she came over with all these like, I said ducks, with all these donkeys and gifts that she had prepared, and was like, yo, don't take my husband Nabal as a, don't as like a real thing. He's a fool. Don't take him serious. Because David, who are you? You are the man that killed Goliath, killed 10,000, done all these things. You show good character, blase, blase. Like pretty much not buttering him up, but reminding David of who he was, who he is, not was. Reminding David who he is, and David like stepped back and was on some, I won't kill nobody today, you know? And funny, like how like he's like, strike me dead if I don't kill nobody. But it was the fact that to be reminded of who you are. And Abigail didn't do nothing. She's not even part of that. But she stepped aside and spoke out, not only for herself, but for the whole household, because she didn't say nothing to David. And she was like, dang, if I don't do something, then we all gonna die. And even though sometimes we get too prideful, we be like, it's not my fault. Why have to say anything? And we forget how powerful we are to make the situation better or worse. And you see that in Abigail, where she has nothing to do with her husband. And I could imagine the time she been married to this dude, letting her get some, I'm not saying get abused, but like she had to see some things that she didn't have to see, go through some things she didn't have to go through. But all that to come here and say like, this is my husband, don't take him, don't do da da da, keep him out of your mind, don't like waste your time and energy onto him, and blase blase. Literally soon after he died, and Abigail became a wife, became David's wife, and here we are. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that wasn't the best summary, but it was a summary. I have a next bit here. I have Haman. I'm gonna go from, because Abigail was good, Saul was bad, Samuel was good, and now we go to another bad, Haman in Esther 3. Xerxes honored Haman, son of Habadith the Agite, elevating him and giving him a seat of honor higher than that of all the other nobles. That was verse 1. Now we're in verse 5. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor, he was enraged. Yet having learned who Mordecai's people were, he scorned the idea of killing only Mordecai. Instead, Haman looked for a way to destroy all Mordecai's people, the Jews, throughout the whole kingdom of Xerxes. So in that, we already see he already abused the power. He just got the power and abusing it because it got to his head on the sense that he's God and everybody and their mother should obey him. And it's like, dude, not to be like on some, oh, you gotta, the gamers, but you gotta earn it. It's just some things you don't give attention to. Not everything. When you're in higher positions and you have higher issues, I'm not saying ignore all little issues because we need to step on something to elevate. I'd say step on people. I'm not saying that, but certain stuff you have to acknowledge, yes, but certain issues shouldn't be taken more than actual. I don't know how to explain it. Like Mordecai, I bet there was bigger problems back then that Haman had to deal with, but instead he's focusing on Mordecai. And I'm like, dude, you already having like half the nation bow down to you, and you concerned about this one thing, and it's too personal. You know what I'm saying? His pride, his ego was just to his head, and later on you see that he loses all this. And sometimes we gotta remember and understand our responsibilities and positions and how powerful and needed it is to humble yourself. Not only that, but understand why you're there. and be happy with your blessings. You know what I'm saying? So lastly, I have Mordecai, the man that didn't want to bow down. Every day this is Esther 2:11. Every day he walked by. Sorry, Mordecai. We're talking about Mordecai. This is Esther 2:11. Every day he walked back and forth near the courtyard of the Haman to find out how Esther was and what was happening to her. Just before here, you see how Mordecai gets elevated as a official, and in that I said daughter. I was gonna say daughter. His foster cousin Esther gets picked to be queen, and in his job, he's making sure both things are aligned, both things are set straight. Like in his job, he's able to check on his I keep saying niece, cousin. I'm not quite sure. The whole geography, cancel me, bro. But I was saying how the whole function of his work and his family, he made sure to keep track of both of them. And he didn't make it wild as sense of I'm only gonna focus on Esther while I'm working, because then that'll mess up his whole work ethic. Instead, he was like, as I'm going not roaming around, but guarding around and stuff like that, I'll check on Esther. And that's not too bad, because it's like you might not say you might as well, but it's the fact that how you play your role and how you play your position. Because obviously, even if he was official, he would never check up on Esther and be on some I don't know that lady. That would be foul. That would be foul. So that was responsibilities and positions. Thank you.